Hello, welcome back to Pictures and Patter, but also welcome back to First Time Films. It's episode 101, start of a new era. I thought of us being in YouTube. It's a good way in. A lot of the time recently, it's been me talk about movies, the same people like been doing our things, but I missed an excuse to go back to watch old movies I loved or to fill in some gaps in my film watching. And I feel that this is a great one to start off today because what way to kick off a new era of first time films than with one of the best sequels of all time? It's The Godfather Part II. And here to talk to me about it is Lauren McAngus. You might know her from the Halloumi and Hot Choc podcast. Lauren, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited.
Yes, and Godfather Part Two. All right, let's lay the scene here, lay the groundwork. Directed again by Francis Ford Coppola, written by Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo, who was the author of the original Godfather books. It stars Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, Robert De Niro's in this one. Talia Shire is back in this movie, and I love it. It was released in 1974 and it was had a budget of $13 million. It made $93 million at
Oof.
the box office, widely considered one of the best sequels of all time. Lauren, we're going to start off pre this movie. So I was very happy when you said you'd never seen The Godfather Part 2 specifically, but that means you had seen The Godfather Part 1. So what I want to know is what were your opinions on the first film and why hadn't you went to watch the second movie until now?
I hate to admit it, but I only watched the first film this year as well. So, however, I have owned the DVD since I was like 15, 16. Uh, it was when I had started getting interested in film. I knew I was going to be applying for unis and everything. So I was like, it's a classic. I need to watch it before I go so I can bat off people being like, you haven't seen The Godfather? Then a degree later and a few years working in the industry, I was doing like a script writing course this past year. And they kept on talking about The Godfather. And the more they were talking about it, I was like, I don't think I actually know what The Godfather's about. Uh, I knew it was gangsters. I knew there was like the horse's head and there was twists and turns and everything. And of course, everyone was raving about part two. Part two's the best part. I was like, okay, I'll watch it. I did enjoy it. I think it's interesting to see the character developments and the how little decisions can change someone's entire life, entire future. So it's just like classically good filmmaking.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's definitely a classic for a reason.
yeah. It's a classic movie. Sorry, Stella had a little cameo appearance during what you were talking there. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I got her. And it is. And listen, we talked in your podcast about Bridesmaids, how you watched that far too young. I watched this far too young. This was the first like movie I remember watching, the first Godfather, thinking, "Oh, this is good. This is like a good movie." And I owned the PlayStation 2 game for The Godfather as well, which is like Grand Theft Auto set in the Godfather world. It was incredible
Oh my
to
gosh.
watch. But having said all of that, what are your overall thoughts on The Godfather 2?
Okay. I
Oh,
no,
that's a
so
loaded okay. It's a loaded okay.
no, right. I think I I'm always a bit wary when a film is over 3 hours long.
Okay.
And I think you definitely need to be in the right frame of mind to be like, I'm gonna sit here for 3 hours. So, and overall I enjoyed it. I think you it's a great story and there's parts in it that I appreciate having the time jumps to give you a little like breather
Yeah.
from the like current here and now story.
Yes.
And it's interesting to see even the time jump between the first film where you leave Mikey
Yeah.
and you come back, and it's so it's subtle storytelling, but it's
Mm.
still it's it is a good film. I can I did enjoy it, and I think the more that I think about it, there's parts that I enjoyed. Do I think it could have been less than 3 hours? Probably. But
Amazing. Yeah.
there still is important parts, and you do need to have the time to world build and see all these different parts and like sit in the uncomfy feeling.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it's a story, like you say, it tries to do quite a lot, you know, in this sequel because it's not only Michael's story in progression, it's also a prequel to The Godfather because we're seeing the story of Vito and how those two contrast. Like on the surface, they're very similar about two men who didn't really want to become what they became, but for very different reasons almost. They did, you know, become that man. And I think that that's what strikes me about it is that, you know, the Vito stuff, Vito became the man that he did for his family. And the question I always have with The Godfather 2 is that was it the same for Michael? Or did
Mm.
Michael realize that he wanted it for himself? You know, because by the end of this movie,
He's alone.
Michael's completely alone, so
Yes.
completely alone. You know, and that's the thing that strikes me about it is that you have those scenes with Vito, and he's always surrounded by his family. Like even when he becomes the Don, you know, and like one of the five families of New York, he's always surrounded by family. And Michael seems to have a thing for pushing family away. I don't know what you thought about the progression of Michael in this movie. Was it where you expected it to go after the end of the first Godfather movie?
Um, I don't know. I think it's it was interesting to see him like talk the talk,
Mm,
but a lot of the things he was like aiming for or wanting, you're like, no, like the way that you're interacting with people, you never know if he's telling the truth.
yeah.
He keeps his cards very close to his chest, but even
Mm,
the people he's like, I trust you, like I don't trust anyone else. You're like, no, you don't.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
trust absolutely no one. So you've gone from I'm gonna do this because I want to protect my family. I want to make sure they're looked after.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to step in these shoes that I don't want to step in.
Yeah, that my dad, you know, can't fill anymore, that my brother was killed trying to fill, you know, it's all the
Yeah.
reasons that he took it. But, you know, at several points in this movie, it becomes apparent that everything about this life has consumed him, you know, and you look at the relationship with Kate as well, played
Mm.
by the incredible Diane Keaton. And I think that Diane Keaton, if you ever watched the third part, right, that's my favorite Diane Keaton performance because it's very much Kate older. And it's like
Mm.
she's came into her own and she's a fully realized sort of woman in her own right away from Michael. And it's more the Diane Keaton that we know today.
Mm-hmm.
But Kay's performance in this movie is so powerful and leads on exactly from where you think The Godfather, where the door is shut on her. And this is
Yes.
her built up reaction to the door being shut on her, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff with the baby, and then leading up to her saying about the abortion, like, and the violent eruption of this marriage. I just thought, I don't know about you, what were your thoughts on the Michael K dynamic? Because it does make for tough watching, especially in that climactic moment.
Yeah, I I think going from the first movie and seeing how she's very she's very headstrong about certain aspects,
Yeah.
But because she's like, no, I'm in love with this man, I'm going to, even though there's these things that are like screaming at me
Yeah,
to run and go away, like this is not a safe environment. She stays, and it definitely feels like it's all that feelings and uh that love towards him has been like simmering.
yeah,
And even like at the start, like when he's wheeling and dealing and he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, blah blah blah." And she goes, "Remember when you told me the family was going to be legit in 3 years or however that was 5 years ago?"
yeah, yeah,
And you're like, "Okay, she's thought about this. She's getting to the stage that it's like, no, like I've waited.
yeah,
I've given you the benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
That things take time. It takes processes and you have to do the wheeling and dealing to get there."
yeah,
But she finally gets to the point where it's like, I I feel like proud is the wrong word to do, but I think it was her admitting that it was an abortion.
yeah,
It was like her going, I finally have agency. I chose to do this
yeah,
because I've given you two children and I don't want to have something else that gives me an excuse to stay with you.
yeah. And it was the agency to know what that meant, with the abortion as well. It was the admittance of the man who I sat with at Connie's wedding at the start of the first movie. That man's gone. Like the war
Hmm.
hero is gone. Like the war hero is away. If the first movie was Michael's descent into madness, darkness, this is Michael relishing in the darkness and two. He doesn't know how to live apart from it anymore. Like
Mm.
he liked it too much, and that's what always strikes me about this movie and the dynamic with Kay. Is that it's she holds up a mirror almost of the promise of this relationship and the man that he once was, and is the one in the only one in the movie who really rejects Michael, because it's
Hmm.
always Michael ordering the hit or taking someone out or sending Tom to convince someone to get spare to get out now. It's always Michael who has the control, and it was Kay
Mm.
in the darkest, most like sort of horrific way taking control, coming out with that, verbiage. It's very powerful in that moment. And we've not even got into the plot really
Yeah.
of the movie yet, and which is it's quite complicated. Like the plot basically revolves around Michael wanting to open a casino with Hyman Roth, but
Hmm.
there's a tough war involved with two of their underlings that means that there's not full trust there. Like Frank Pantangeli, I always love, is a supporting character coming in this movie, who's like begging Michael, like, do something
Yeah.
about this result. He's the most like passionate Italian man on the planet. But people always talk about in the first movie, the villains really are in house a lot of the
Hmm.
time. Hyman Roth comes in, is the one of the key villains in this one, and I've always loved the understated performance of Hyman Roth in this movie. Like, would you like some cake and stuff like that? And it's Lee Strasberg who plays him. What were your thoughts on Hyman Roth as the antagonist of this movie?
I thought he played the like not lovely old man, but just like
Yeah.
a, oh, I'm just a little old man. I'm just trying to do all these things before I die. I had a heart
Yeah.
attack. I'm still dying. Oh no. And
Yeah.
like there's that running joke of like he's been dying from the same heart attack for the last 3 years. Like this man is not going to die of natural causes. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
So I think he was I I think because no one trusts anyone.
Mm.
And he's very straight to the point to a point.
Yeah.
But he's just very nonchalant about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's kind of like you didn't bring the money.
Yeah.
Like I know you didn't do this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
and I think because Mikey's so used to being able to like wheel and deal and people not noticing things
yeah.
or taking the time to like double check things, that finally when someone goes, no, 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 that's suspicious.
Yeah.
Why are you've chosen to do that?
Yeah, and it's because Hyman Roth is ordered the hit and Frank, and it's all these interconnected things where Michael's like, no, that's disrespectful to me. But then Hyman Roth's like, well, you took out Mo Green, who was my guy, and that ties back to the first film. And it's all these sort of interconnected things, and it's like Hyman Roth is a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what it boils down to. Like he's a gangster, yes, involved in shady dealings, yes, a lot of influence, yeah, but able to put business above everything else almost. Whereas Michael is always driven by pride,
Mm.
James, and that's where the decisions come in. That's why it's always scorched earth with Michael. It's always him. There's no coexisting. If you'd screw me over in any way, whether it's me or me indirectly because it's Frank, that's it. And that's the difference here between Hyman Roth, who I think is the man almost Michael would like to become,
Mm.
and eventually kind of does become, not to spoil the first movie for you, but not too dissimilar. Um, yeah, and where he is now, which is this still hot-headed, driven by anger and passion man,
Yeah.
you know? And never is that more clear than his reaction to the betrayal of his brother.
Oh,
It's
yes.
the most iconic part of The Godfather Part II. He knows there's a rat in the house. That's why he leaves. He puts Tom in charge. He kind of needs to go into detective mode
Mm.
for a lot of this movie. And they're in Cuba. And he goes, I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. Brought in that performance from Al Pacino, just absolutely emotion coming out. And you feel for Fredo because you get it, because you've seen the last couple of movies him pushed to the back burner and stuff like that. And what did you make of this twist, as it were? It's one of those things you might not have been able to avoid before going in because it's quoted like, I know it was you, Fredo. Like, but did you know about it? What did you think about it?
I didn't I I think I'd seen stuff about him, like the kiss was like the seal of death, pretty
Yeah,
much. But I don't think I'd really understood like who Fredo was and all that. So I think it was a fun twist. And it's how subtly it gets like unveiled to the audience. Like the penny drops in such a subtly it's such a subtle way because it's when you're hearing all these hearing Mikey going around being like so and so is the rat, like blah blah blah, they were the one that killed this guy, and then he's talking to another person going, no, this guy killed that guy. You're like, I don't know who's telling the truth,
yeah,
who's the evil little guy.
yeah,
But just the, oh, I've never met this guy, yeah, nice to meet you, blah blah blah, and him just very casually going, "Oh, so and so showed me this
yeah.
place."
It's Johnny Moore, I think is his name. I'm trying to, but there's so many names to remember.
There's
Johnny
so
Ola, Johnny Ola. That's it, Johnny Ola.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, Johnny showed me this place,
yeah,
and Mikey's just like, you've never met Johnny.
yeah.
What's going on here? And it's
Exactly.
in such a silly scene. Like
Yeah,
it's so, but it's Frodo to a T. He's just
yeah,
like, you have to see this. If I'm going to be the host, the little entertainer puppy,
yeah.
like this, you're gonna have one of the best nights in Cuba
Yeah.
going to this show.
This is it. This is it.
And it's so subtly done.
And it's beautiful. And then it's like, again, it's the pride thing. It's like, I'm not going to kill him when my mum's alive. We see the mum's dead.
Mm,
And you know immediately what's coming. You know that Fredo is not long for this world. He is done. And it's that iconic shot on the boat as
Oh,
Michael, waits for the gunshot to happen. It's just such a powerful moment, especially because he's already gotten over the heartbreak of Sonny
mm,
dying by this point. Tom is still there, but not blood, not one of Vito's sons. So he's had to kill like his only other blood brother left on the
mm,
planet. And it's heartbreaking stuff. You understand it from Michael's point of view and where he is in his psyche. He can't get over that betrayal. Like, he cannot get over betrayal.
mm-hmm.
He has to take him out. He has to go. Um, but yeah, I think that's just such a great moment. I have to say, one of my underrated characters of this series is Tom Hagen. I've always loved
Oh, he's incredible.
Robert Duvall. He's just like so calm in the face
He's
of the storm.
so calm. See when
Yeah,
he like gets given like the keys to the castle pretty much.
yeah,
He's just like, okay, sure. Like
yeah,
whatever. And then he's having to deal with the senator and you're
yeah.
like, how are you not throwing up? Like
I know.
what's going on? Like you're so calm. It's like I've seen worse things.
Yeah, and you can tell, like it compares to the first movie, one of Michael's first acts is to demote Tom, essentially, right when he comes in as the Godfather. Um, he says like, "You're just not a wartime consigliere." And it kind of shows Tom's growth. Like, Tom's coming in this hard moment. There's no one Michael trusts more.
Hmm.
You could argue, things you said earlier, there's no one Michael trusts. You could argue there is, and it's only Tom that Michael will trust with his life, with his children, like, because he comes in, he takes over that moment, and then he's the one they sends to visit Frank, and it's that subtle story about, when someone would betray the Roman emperors to protect their family, they would, sorry, lack of a better term, commit suicide, at that moment.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what Tom's telling him, but
Yeah.
he delivers it in that classic lawyerly Tom Hagen way. And I think that's what's brilliant about Robert Duvall in movies where all of these people have their outbursts and big moments and crying, and even Al Pacino as Michael, who's reserved a lot of the time, gets to have these moments of anger. Tom Hagen's that calm in the storm. So when he gets involved in the dirty dealings, it's arguably more sinister because it's being delivered by this like sort of lawful evil, if that makes
Oh
sense.
yeah. Because he knows exactly what he's saying.
Yeah,
Every sentence is like stitched together perfectly, so
yeah,
there's no way you can't construe it for something else.
yes.
And it's always done in a very, oh, do you know about this? Or we're just having a conversation. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
We're just having a
we're
chat.
just chit-chatting. I'm not doing anything unlawful. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you exactly how it is.
I'll tell you how it went. Tell you how it
Yeah,
went.
I mean, same with the senator area. He's just like trying to get the facts
Yeah.
and is like, we're your only friends. Like, if this happened somewhere else, you'd be in the pits. Like, but because you chose one of our things, we're able to help you. We're able to support you through this.
We can sort this out. And it's classic talk. And I love that. I love that about him. And he's not one of the men who gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor, because this movie got three nominations for Best Supporting Actor. You had Lee Strasberg, who played Hyman Roth, got nominated.
Yes.
You had Michael V. Gazzo, who played Frank Pantangeli, who got nominated. And the one who won, it's the guy we've not talked about yet, it's Robert De Niro, who played young
Yes.
Vito Corleone. Obviously, he's went on to become one of the greatest actors of all time. And people talked about, De Niro and Pacino never been in a movie before. The confusion is they had been, like in this
Mhm.
movie, for which both were very critically acclaimed. But they just never shared a screen before until Heat. It took all those years later in the 90s. But what did you make of Robert De Niro stepping into the shoes of Don Vito Corleone? Because hard shoes to fill
Oh,
following
yeah.
Marlon Brando.
Yes. I think before I'd like watched the first film,
Yeah.
I knew, I think I knew that De Niro had something to do with The Godfather.
Right.
So
Okay.
I was like, I know he's in a lot of gangster movies.
Yeah.
Like I've watched Goodfellas, like I've watched a good amount of De Niro in
Mm.
his little gangster roles. Not little guy, like big performances. But when I after I watched the first one, I was like, maybe I mixed up. Maybe he's not in The Godfather. So when he popped up, I was like, I knew it. I knew he was in something. So it's fun. It it's fun seeing like a younger uh version of the character, but it's also because he's not like a like he is a larger than life character, but he's not played big. It's very
Yeah.
like small, subtle, like uh
Gently spoken.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's a lot. I mean, the Robert De Niro impression is like, "You talking to me?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
No, but that's this predates that. This is Robert De
yeah,
Niro, and he is following. You have to when you're taking on a role like this. You can't deviate too much from what
yeah.
other people have done. Do you think that this feels like the same character that Lauren
Oh
McAngus?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it even feels like the same family. Like
yeah,
there's still that like rapport. You can see where the family has like learned certain humor, certain like how they deal with it. Like
yeah,
even though like Mikey definitely goes about things differently, you can see the where he learned it, where like the little techniques of like keeping things to your chest or uh just having little balls rolling.
yeah.
Even just how he like clocks on to information and you can see the wheelies turning. It's really satisfying to watch.
Mhm.
Just the progression of him being like you can see he's a family man. He's always been a family man.
He's always a great dad to the kids, like, and that's
Yes.
the difference between Vito and Michael, and that's the frustration. It's like family becomes shorthand for like the operation,
Yes.
but to Vito, it was always the core, not to sound too Dom Toretto about it, but it was always the
No.
core of what he was doing was family. That was it. And that extended to Clemenza and Tessio, which is interesting to watch because you see a younger Tessio and you're like, I know what you're going to do. Like, like you see,
Yeah.
like, you know,
But
it's,
it's fun. I think it it just shows the where people came from. Like they're not gonna be this massive like I mean the first time you see the Godfather in the first one, it's like it's very like oh my gosh, who's this person? Like it's very suspicious. You don't know a lot going on. You're having to like put the pieces together bit by bit.
yeah.
But now you know exactly who this man is
Mhm.
going to end up as.
Yeah, and that's it.
So,
And how his son ends up, because I think that
yes.
people, these movies are always like, oh, the son learns the lessons of the father. Almost.
No.
But it's the opposite here, almost. Like, you can say what you want about Don Vito, but it was, the family was the important thing. And
Yes.
Michael never grasped that because to Michael, it was the power that was
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing. And that's why he ends up alone in comparison to Don Vito, who is beloved into the end of his life in the first movie, like we saw. And what I love about this timeline is that we see Sicily once again being a sort of transformative experience for both. Obviously, Michael
Yes.
has his exodus there in the first movie that changes him. He gets married. Let's not forgetting the car blows up.
Oh, yes.
Don Vito started in Sicily and had obviously his family get murdered and have to come to America before getting his revenge all those years later. And it's almost like that's the bit where he, can't resist. And you see
Mm-hmm.
those origins of Michael not being able to let go in Don Vito. in his life, you know? So,
But it's still related to family.
yeah,
That's the I think that's the part that like as we've talked about, like it distinguishes the two
yeah,
men
exactly.
because even though like it's revenge, it's like a brutal act. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, like not
yeah.
even just a stab, stab,
It's
slash.
hard. It's hard to watch. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Even for me,
disgusting.
and I couldn't watch a lot of that stuff. But yeah, it's tough. But it's
It's
like,
tough.
yeah, it's the difference between the two. It's like revenge for family or revenge for pride. That's the comparison, and it's brilliant. And this is why, you know, I know you're saying about the length of the movie,
Hmm.
and it is tough, especially by modern standards, because I think, you know, audiences have become expecting, you know, shorter runtime and stuff like that. It was much more common back in this day and age. But when we analyse it as a sort of text in itself,
Hmm.
it's just such a good story. And this is the question I want to ask to sort of end on here. It's widely considered to be the best sequel of all time. It's one of the ones that's always in the mix.
Mm.
Do you agree? And if not, what would you put forward?
I think I would agree. I think you definitely need to watch the first one to appreciate
Yeah,
aspects of the film
yeah.
and to like fully understand where where some of these characters have ended
Mhm.
to like really go back and just dig it in a bit more.
It feels like an extension of the.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's very much like it it is a part two, but it adds so much
yeah.
to the first film.
100%.
Um, yeah, I would say I think there's definitely parts that it's one of those films that I feel like I know I've only watched it once now, but this is when the film student comes in. I'm like, I want to
Yeah,
watch it again and be able to like
yeah.
take apart pieces.
And it's one of the movies you can do that with, and you can always
Yeah,
tell, you know, the movies that you can and can't do that with.
yeah.
You know, you can do it with this one. It's like,
No, I would say there's definitely a lot more plate spinning.
mhm.
There's a lot more. There's like I think because it's got multiple storylines
Yeah,
and it does link in with each other, but it's not too like
it's not in the nose.
oh
Yeah,
no,
right.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it's not like this thing happened. Oh wait, it happened exactly the same to his father.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's just thematically, you know. And I think the problem with that, not the problem in this movie, but if I was to lay, if I could understand why people can't relate to it as much, it's because in the Michael plot, on the surface of it is quite complicated with the Hyman Roth stuff and the understanding the family dynamics and like who works for who and stuff like that. And I think that people can get lost in the weeds in that when actually
It's
for
quite a
the
simple
story,
story.
for the story and the characters, it doesn't really matter. It's about how people react to these situations that's important, you know. And like I said, I think the first movie is Michael's descent into darkness, this him relishing in the darkness. If you watch part three, I think it's about Michael regretting the darkness and how,
Mm,
despite his best efforts and his regret and his wish to do things differently, you can never truly leave the darkness behind. You know, and
yeah.
it's not seen as, you know, as highly held up as the other two. But I still think there's parts of part three that are worthy of continuing, especially Michael's story, you know, and what Al Pacino does there and Kay does there. The other sequel would hold up different to this. The Dark Knight's always brought up.
Oh,
The
Dark
big
Knight's
sequel.
so good.
I think the difference with the Dark Knight, you put it in the head that this movie feels like it complements The Godfather so well and they expand. Whereas you could go in at The Dark Knight and watch it in its own. Like you don't
Yeah.
really need to watch Batman Begins like at all.
No.
Like even though it's a sequel, The Dark Knight I think is a bigger up in quality than
Hmm.
Godfather 2 and Godfather 1 are because they're about on par. Whereas The Dark Knight is like here and Batman Begins for me is about here. It's like okay for me, but The Dark Knight's just like a masterpiece. Like, you know what I
I
mean?
think like The Dark Knight alone is like one of the best Batman films out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But because it doesn't treat itself like a Batman film,
Yeah, it's just one of the best movies, I think, of
it's
the
it's
21st
just
century.
it's so good. I think because I think I think with The Godfather is that which because it's like it's Mikey's story.
Yeah,
Like he is the Godfather. You're seeing his like progression into this role and how he really becomes this like entity
yeah.
of like the Godfather is this like living, breathing thing that Mikey doesn't really isn't really a person anymore. He's this like overall he's just this thing that everyone's terrified of and
Yeah,
is like living and breathing and trying to like make sure that this thing helps their life.
totally.
Whereas with Batman, I mean it could easily be done, but I think because Batman there's so many like him becoming Batman. There's not really much of a progression.
No, but the stories, and we can get this is probably a story for another time, but the
Oh
stories
yeah.
are quite comparable because it's both of them descending into darkness or like becoming Batman, right? So it's
Yeah.
like they both become who they are. The second movie is about them sort of living with that and reckoning with the
Yeah.
consequences of that and how it, the end of both movies, they're alone and know they need to be alone. And like
Yeah.
the third movie is both of them almost reckoning with the consequences of that. So there's a very interesting
Mm.
comparison in those two trilogies, but that's for another time. Lauren,
Yeah.
I want to
Sorry.
let you go today, but thank you so much for coming on. Tell the people where they can find you and find the podcast.
Yeah, so I run a little podcast called Halloumi Hot Choc. Um it's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at the minute. Or if you want to just catch up with what's going on, we're on Instagram at Halloumi Hot Choc. Nice and easy.
Go give them a follow, guys. And Lauren, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great chat. For everyone at home, more episodes to come, hopefully more interviews to come, and more first-time films to come now that it's back. But thank you so much, Lauren, again for joining me today. And Alan Purvis, take us home.